Thursday night on the grind. So everybody knows, as usual, leave a comment where you're watching me from. I like to know where my demographic is. I like to know who's watching, where you live, things of that nature. Please reach down in that little corner, hit that little share button and share the video. The more people that know about it, the better it gets. So anyway, I would like to say that tonight's show is proudly brought to you by Demon Cycles. You can reach Demon Cycles on the interwebs at demoncycle.com. Anything you could possibly want for motorcycles, these cats have. So please go on over there and check them out. Tell them Kevin sent you with the grind. So the first thing I would like to talk about tonight, looky here, we got, what's up, Dan? What's up, Logan? What's up, Mrs. Zippy? How you guys doing? So tonight's going to be a good show. We have a kick-ass guest, Mr. Cody McNew. And you guys know him from VooDoo. Damn it, he told me what it was. Damn it, it blew my mind. Bike Works, that's it. VooDoo Bike Works. I suck bad, man. I just had a total mind freeze. But anyway, we are going to be bringing him on here shortly. But first, I would like to talk about this right here. And bam, what do y'all think about that? Okay, so here's the deal. I am not a stereo guy. You guys know that. I have said it repeatedly. I am a bike builder. I'm a metal fabricator. That's what I do. That's what I get off on, is bending and molding and shaping metal. But my good buddy, Andy Smith, this past summer, basically informed me that he wasn't going to be my friend if I didn't have a stereo bike, because he is a builder as well, a performance guy, and a massive stereo guy. So he decided that he wanted to sponsor the grind and sent me down some equipment. And he built this system based off of what I told him I had as far as what bike I had. Well, as you guys can see, you can't blow it up, but that is a first place for an amateur in a 6-speaker class. And I literally was just walking on people. Now, I will say this. I'm not going to get arrogant about it. I'm not going to be boisterous about it. But I will say this. For Andy to be able to build a system for a bike he's never seen, and that system be put together so correctly that my guy, Lonnie Revels and Jason Wheelis, were able to build my bags and take care of the system, install it, tune it, and do everything to it. And to have that bike show up and be announced and announced and announced, everybody that heard it will agree 100% with me. That bike is a 6-speaker monster. I can't say thank you enough to Andy. I can't say thank you enough to Lonnie and Jason. But I also don't want to forget my new friend, Mr. Chino Nguyen, because Chino walked up to the bike and there was one little part to the bike that just, I don't know what happened. But Chino figured it out just like that, fixed it up, and just did a tweak of a tune on it. And between those 4 guys, built a hell of a 6-speaker bike. Again, it's not me. You guys know I'm not a stereo guy. I just build the bikes. I do a lot of metal work. These guys do the stereo. And these guys, if any of y'all, anywhere throughout the country, Andy is in Iowa, and he owns Smart Cycle Sounds and Performance. You got Lonnie Revels and Jason Wheelis at Squealing Pigs Audio in Baytown, Texas. And Mr. Chino Nguyen, I'm pretty sure he lives in Pasadena, but I could be wrong. But those guys are monsters. The truth of the matter is that it is an extremely good bike. The stereo system is very good. And those guys really stepped up and took care of me. And I hope to God I represented them good. And like Louis Bailey says, don't get ahead of yourself, because I'm not doing that. The reality is it's not me. It was them. Those guys are just monsters in the industry, and they're doing really good. On a different note, I would appreciate everybody, every single person watching this show right now, please, pray for Michelle Rowe. She's a part of the Grind family. She lost her son this last week. I get goose pimples thinking about it. He was 28 years old. and he's no longer with us. So if you guys could, man, every single one of you guys, go over to her page, show her some love, show her the support, and just try to be there for her. Now, here we go. So I have been a legitimate fan of this next cat that I'm about to bring on for a long time now. The reason I'm a fan of his is because I watched the Biker Battleground, if I'm not mistaken, that's what it was called, where it was Lynn Edmondson, Paul Yaffe, John Shope, Brian Jenkins, and Cody McNew. And these guys were building baggers. And I want to say the show was in 2014 or 2015. I could be wrong on the year, but I got to see these guys build things and do things that I'd never seen before. But this guy right here really impressed me because he built something. And I'm going to bring him on real quick, and we're going to go straight to that one bike he built that really impressed me. And then we're going to get to know him a little bit, hear some of his story, and hopefully you guys will start using him for stuff if you don't already use him. So everybody, please welcome Mr. Cody McNew. And there you are, buddy. What's going on, man?
What's up, buddy? How you guys doing?
I'm doing good. I'm pretty sure everybody else is doing good. So let me explain this to you. So you just heard me say I've been a fan of yours, but I'm a fan of yours for one bike and one bike only.
Okay.
So in the middle of that show, y'all were building bikes, and it was 5 people, and y'all were going to go somewhere, and there was a contest to see who built the best bagger, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
That's correct.
After you built your bike, the show kept going on for some odd reason. I thought it would be over with, but it wasn't. And you built a fucking jet bagger.
Correct.
Now, you must tell me, where in the hell did the concept come from, and how did you make that work?
All right. So once again, we're going to go back just a little bit. I'm a young guy, 2-car garage, so I start building bikes, and I get caught in Sturgis after I built an award-winning bike, by a production company. Says, listen, we want you. We want to do a show. We're going to do the top 5 guys on the West Coast. We want you to be a part of it. I'm all in, right? I'm pumped. Be a part of something like this. TV. I mean, who wouldn't want it? There's some catches in it, though. And then I'll explain that. When it comes to reality TV, they do anything and everything they can to get what they want. So the show goes on. We get through it, start going. They go, well, listen, in the middle of the show, they said, listen, I'm still pumped. They're, ironing our shirts every day and shaving our face. I'm like, this is cool. No, this is editing. I learned that at the end too. But what they did say is, we need you to build completely out of your comfort zone the baddest thing that you can pull off. Everybody has to build a bike for this show. We're going to do a final show in Sturgis. This is not the charity bikes that you guys built part of the show. This is, show us what you can build. I said, so you're telling me the baddest thing that I can come up with, right? They said, yeah, we need to see it. You guys are put here for a reason. We need to see it. So I fell for it. None of the other guys rebuilt any bikes. John didn't build a new bike. Yaffe didn't have to build a new bike. I didn't care. I wanted the opportunity. I'm like, fuck it. These people want to see what I can come up with. How far out of the box can I get? I don't give a fuck if people like it. I don't care if they love it or it didn't matter to me. I had an opportunity to where I got to build the most extreme, way out of its time. I'm trying to think like how to even put it, but like futuristic, something that I could put together. It's just, there was no requirements, no nothing. My only requirement is that it stayed in a Harley frame. So I started thinking about what can I do here that hasn't been done? And the first thing that popped in my head is, how do I put a turbine in there? How do I put an APU unit in a bagger and make it work? I don't have time. I've got 2 months to build this bike. I don't have time to work with machinists on transmissions. I don't have time to get involved with like MTI or any of those guys that are building like the Jay Leno bikes with the Allison motors and all that kind of stuff with all the fans. I don't have the time. So I got to come up with something to make this work. So I get a hold of an APU unit off of eBay, and I just wing it. Totally fucking wing it. I started building motor mounts. Me and my guys, we started thinking about this. I started pulling together different ideas, like what we can do. Like, okay, well, if it was futuristic, what would it have? Okay, well, let's build a split wing on it. Like, it's not for everybody, but it interlocked. It went like this. You know what I mean? Like, it was all motion. Like, everything on that thing was functional, except for it didn't have a transmission on it. So it was fast as shit. So the show, they see me build this thing. Then I don't have enough drama for the show, so I put fuel all over the exhaust and then let it ignite so it catches fire. So now they think there's a problem. We got to have all that. We put it out. I fired it right up and got after that. Once they seen how dangerous that bike was, I wasn't allowed to ride it because I was under contract. So I couldn't ride it. So that's why it never got ridden on the show. So it took the full wind out of my sails. I got in a huge fight with the production. I'm like, wait a minute. You guys tell me to build the baddest motherfucking thing I can build, and then I can't ride it? What do you think these people are going to think? They're going to think it's not rideable. They're going to think you can't go. They're going to think it was a total fucking flop. That fucking thing idles at 60 miles an hour. The most dangerous fucking thing I've ever rode.
Really?
You still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
I can't hear you, boss.
You can't. I can hear you.
Right.
So I can hear you.
Okay. You want me to keep going? Okay. Because I can't. Yeah. Do I need to put this little thing here? Okay.
You're good.
So anyways, so I go, okay, fine. You know what? I won't ride it. I'm going to sit here and take the ass whipping on social media. I'm going to do all that. I won't ride it. But the fact that I got to build something like that and the people that I had involved in it, you know, Ali from Sinister Wheel, he built me an incredible wheel design that we came up. We built it around a futuristic car that's $4.4 million. Like, you know, the bike had so much to it that just was never, you know, people didn't give it the credit that it was for. But I mean, it was probably the coolest thing that I've ever got to be a part of by far, you know. And then as soon as I got out of contract, which was in that December, I rode that bitch right down the street. I mean, there's videos all over eBay of me riding it, or not eBay, YouTube, sorry. But you know, you know, is it something that you can ride down the street? Fuck no, you can't. It's fucking bomb. Like, I'll tell anybody that. It hauls 6 gallons of fuel. You can get about 6 miles down the road on the burn rate, but it is the wildest fucking ride you've ever rode. There's no vibrations, period. There's no torque like a normal bike. It just thrusts and it pulls and pulls, and you quarter throttle it, you look down at 140 mile an hour. It's dangerous as shit. It's got 6 brake calipers on it that you have to pulsate front and back to slow down. Takes about a half a mile to slow it down. No, it's a fucking death trap, but it is the coolest thing I've ever rode in my life.
Wow. Can you hear me now?
No, I can't hear you, boss.
You can't hear me?
Nope.
Okay, log off and log back on.
What does he want me to do? Log off?
Log off and log back on.
How do I do that?
I'm going to log you off.
On my phone. Doing something.
Okay, so he's having a little bit of difficulties there, because I know if I were having difficulties, all of you guys would be beating me the hell up. So he's going to come back. When he comes back on, we'll bring him right back in. But I wanted to say that with the way that he did it, the way that he did the show, I mean, because there was 4 other people on the show. I kind of understand what he's talking about. I've never been on TV other than a couple of little acting things I did when I was younger. But under contracts and stuff like that, you know, I don't know why they would ask to build a bike that he wasn't allowed to ride. But if you saw the show at all, it was so futuristic looking that he just literally got beat up on social media for building that bike. You know, how dumb it was, this, that, and the other. But I guarantee you, there ain't very many builders out there that could take a turbine and put it in a motorcycle and it actually would work. I would like to say thank you, Mr. Aaron Crispin, for sending the flowers on behalf of the grind. We owe you, brother. Thank you very, very much, man. I appreciate you. Can you hear me, Cody? Okay, you're back live now. So you're here. You're live. Okay. You can hear me. I can hear you. We're good. So with that being said, when you built that bike, that's what really got me interested in you, Now, I ain't gonna lie to you. After that bike was done, I kind of dropped off, stopped following you on Facebook so much. Not because I unfriended you or anything like that. It's just in my feed, other stuff kept coming up. Of course, I was building a bike. I got busy doing my shit.
Sure.
But I do know this. Uh, Last year in Sturgis, we got to hang out, got to bullshit a little bit, drink a little bit together. And I was very impressed because I know for a period of time there, you got really beat up on social media. And yet, most all the shops that would have taken that ass kicking on social media at that point in time, I would figure they just go out of business. But you did the exact opposite of it. You got rid of your woman. You started over. You came out with new products. It's just like almost like there was a fire lit under your ass that I'm not going out like this. If I go out, I'm going out on my own goddamn terms, which is sometimes, I mean, it takes a lot. You got to swallow your pride to do some of the stuff I think you've done. You were talking about stereos. How did you get into the stereo portion of building these baggers and stuff? Because I just literally over the last 2 years figured out that there was stereo stuff up in here. You know, how did that come about for you?
So to be honest with you, that's been I mean, I've been a drummer my whole life. So, you know, I've always been passionate about music. I've been putting speakers on bikes since, I mean, you know, 6.5 were the first ones. I mean, I've been in this game a long time. You know, the owner of JL, one of the, you know, partners in JL, excuse me, is a good buddy of mine. And so we've stayed connected throughout all this. And like, he's watched me grow through it. I mean, we went through the 8.8s and we did, you know, the Marine line of it. And I watched this grow. I knew the audio was going to be big. I didn't know that it was going to be this big, but I knew that there was an outcome from it because everyone loves music. You can't deny that.
Oh yeah.
The genres, of course, everybody's got their own deal, but there's not one person that don't want to hear loud music on their bagger in the wind at 90 mile an hour. Maybe a few, but I haven't met one. And so with that being said, I've just followed it and watched it. And, you know, I'm not scared to take chances. You win some, you lose some. You know, your pride's involved at 100%, but at the same time, you have to go back to the drawing board. Okay, this doesn't work. What's going to work? How can I perfect this? How can I make that? You know, if you don't grow with your business and you don't want to strive to the next level, you're going to get put behind. And I'm not saying this towards anybody except for the fact that it's just you have to stay ahead of the curve.
So, okay, so with this particular topic, I remember, and Brian Barber just posted. I don't know if you can see the comment on the.
I can't see no comments on here.
Okay, well, so Brian Barber asked me to ask you, how did you feel when Mike Campbell burned your shirt on national TV? Which I don't remember seeing it on TV. I remember seeing it on Facebook, but not national TV. You care to say anything about that?
Here's my thing, bud. You know, I look at it and I'm gonna touch it as gently as I can. There's not much that bothers me, man. I've been through it all, and anything like that just makes me stronger. And if you need 30 or 90 seconds of fame to make you feel good, when I've helped you in your camp in the beginning, I've supported you guys with parts. I'm cool, man. Because at the end of the game, don't buy the hand that feeds. Because I am the top of the audio guy right now with parts. And at the end of the day, we're going to cross paths again. Everybody's apologized this or that. That's fine. But, you know, with me, I'm cool, man. It doesn't bother me. Stuff like that with guys just doesn't bother me.
Well, cool. So with that, that's a good response. Ricky Graffio asked, ask him how he liked that Shorty G pipe I just built for him, or I built for him.
Oh, yeah. So we put that one on. So I had a customer we did a bike for. I think we finished it last year, but it's flat black. We did some motor work to it, and the guy wanted a one-off custom pipe. And so I started showing this guy a few different things. Like, man, I really want something different. So I hooked up with him, and the pipe turned out great, man. I mean, the quality of it. I mean, he's a hell of a fabricator guy.
So he is as good as his shit looks?
Man, it looks good, man. And it fits good. It bolts right on. I mean, you know, once again, tones are different. Short pipes are not going to have a deep sound as a long pipe. But if you're looking for a designer style part that still performs, that pipe does work 100%. He did a great job.
Right on. Good deal. I interviewed him a couple of weeks ago. So I told you that I would randomly be putting comments up on the screen. That's so cool. You could read them.
Yeah.
So Louis Bailey
course.
Hold on. So here's the first comment. Bruno asked, I need to know how the glow sticks went. Louis Bailey says, oh, Bruno. Oh, Kevin had one in the butt. It's a long story, man. It's a long story. But no, I did not take a glow stick in the ass this past weekend.
I'm going, damn, man. Did that go left real quick or what?
Dude, I told you a minute ago, there will be some comments. You will want to come back when it's over with, and you will want to read these comments. The comments are like the best part of this show, other than my good-looking mug. The comments that they come up with are just it's crazy I don't even know where they think about this stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, anyway, we'll get off that topic.
Let's do it. I'm sure it's better for both of us here.
Oh my God. So now, I want to go backwards a little bit. How did you actually get into building bikes? I mean, were you raised around bikes? Did your family have them? I mean, anything like that?
You know what? I mean, I came
not the hardcore topic, but how'd you get into bikes?
No, I got you. So here's where I got started. I mean, I've been in the dirt my whole life. Like that was my thing. I mean, my hands were on. I mean, anything that had a motor in it, I was about it. I mean, I raced quads, dirt bikes, I had sand rails, did all that. The street stuff really didn't intrigue me until there was able to do something cool with the bagger stuff. I had the chopper thing, that was cool, but me and you both know that riding a chopper long range, if it's not a soft tail, it's not enjoyable when you take a June bug between the eyes at 75 and can't let go. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
One of those deals. But when the baggers, when there was people starting to do things that could make them somewhat cool, and it was still a rideable thing, it intrigued me, because I'm thinking, all right, so if I wanted to get involved in this, I'm an all-in guy. I'm a doer, right? Like, I'm not going to well, okay, that's cool. Let's have us. Let's ride it one time. That's cool. No, if I get in and I spend the money on one of these, I wanted to have something that looked badass, but that I could ride it comfortably. If I wanted to go to California tomorrow, I'm going to be there in 5 hours with my shit in the tour pack, right? I mean, that's what I was thinking. And so, I got involved in it. I was having something, actually having a bike worked on, and it just didn't work out. And I just decided, you know what, I can do this. I mean, there hasn't been anything else I haven't been able to do. I've owned my own company since I was 17. I mean, there hasn't been anything that I wanted to accomplish that if I wanted it bad enough, couldn't be able to get it done. So I just started making parts, man. I built one bike. I put a lot of work into it. And, I had a couple of guys give me a hand with it, with stuff that, I was able to learn from different things. And to be honest with you, the trial and error, I mean, everybody goes to college for things, man. My college cost just as much, if not more, because that didn't work. Fuck, throw that away. Let's start again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it got to the point to where I just started building them in the garage, and then people started liking my style. And then it was just, I mean, it blew up from there. And then it was just chasing the tail. How am I going to contain this thing?
So basically, you just started building what you wanted, and people started seeing it and liking what you were building. And then once you started getting customers, you started building what they liked and styles that they liked. And of course, that also bleeds over into, oh shit, man, you know what? On my next bike that I do for myself, I'm going to use a little bit of that flair.
100%.
Knowing that you're in the stereo game so hard, I know you know who Will Bond is. Yep. Right, from Sound Wars. He wants to know, what do you think the future of the bike audio game is going to be? Because that shit changes every year. Somebody can have a bike in 2018 that's just banging. Well, in 2019, it's a totally different looking bike because they've rebuilt that bike.
Right.
People probably spent college tuitions building these bikes,
100%.
So what do you think the future would be?
I'm going to go a little bit deeper than that. So I watched this blow up, and it went really extreme right off. How big we can make. I mean, there's still guys building heavyweight bikes, right? And I'm going to go ahead and go there, the big heavy stuff. But what I'm watching now is that these shows are finally kind of somewhat, I'm going to say, not cross-pollinating, but they're sharing classes, different names, whatever, but speaker counts, right? To where a guy doesn't have to build for one. He can find a show. All right, I can work in that class. But these guys are starting to work together to where you can build a bike and participate in just about any show in the same class. And so the big heavyweight stuff, I mean, I'm a 12 guy, right? When I brought a big stereo bike to the game, I brought a big base bike that had 212s in it, and I shocked the industry. I brought it all the way to North Carolina, and when that base dropped, these guys all looked at it, go, "Where the fuck did that come from?" And that was my statement. Didn't care to win, didn't care to come to compete. I wanted to bring something out there that people were going to be able to buy. Then I started dropping parts. Well, with that being said, the big bikes have gotten so extreme that the rideability to compete with a big bike is slim to none. I mean, you're going to 45, 50 is all you're going to get out of a bike. So I feel like that's pulled off. The middleweight class is still really, really competitive. But there's a new class that, I mean, Will's had it for a while. A few other guys have had it, but the SOS shows just allowed it there as well. It's called the welterweight class. Basically, they call it a comp class. Like I said, it's a different name class for everybody, but it's the same speaker count. So it's basically, I think it's 8 or 10 speakers. You're allowed to have a sub in each bag, nothing bigger than a 10, but they're rideable. Okay. So you're still doing drop rail bags. That stuff didn't slow down for me at all, but these guys are going nuts over this. There's no power restrictions or nothing, but they sound incredible. They're loud. Most people would think they were a heavyweight bike, but they're bringing the rideability of the bike back. I'm not saying that we're going to go, oh, we're not going big stretch bags no more because no big wheels no more, because the guys that said that, I talk to the wheel guys all the time, man, and they're selling just as many as 26s and 30s as they are any wheel at ever time. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that's not going anywhere. The big stretch bags isn't going anywhere. The big stereos, but these guys are trying to get creative to where they're rideable again.
Well, I know that in Sturgis, this past Sturgis 3 or 4 months ago, I saw Andy Smith pull up on a gray bagger that had some neon green on it.
Yep.
And his bike just really, it just beat up on everybody. It really did. Every grudge match he won his class. He really had a kick-ass bike. But he also rode that bike all over Sturgis, right, which is really freaking cool because like you said, you get the best of both worlds, where you have a banging system, sure, but you also have a bike that you can ride everywhere. And that's one thing I'll tell you right now. I say it as much as I possibly can. Louis Bailey has got about, in my opinion, one of the best bikes ever built, period. The reason I say that is because A, it's beautiful. It's very detailed. It's got a killer little stereo system in it, but he literally rides that bike everywhere. Him and Chantal, I was in Dallas about a month and a half ago or so, and we were just going to go to a bar and watch a band play. Well, he was about an hour away, and it was night, and he's like, hey, let's just take the bike. So they rode the bike all the way up there. And I was like, Jesus Christ, man, we're all going out to party and have a good time, and you're on your bike. A bike that just won the Rats Hole Best of Show in Sturgis. And this dude's just going to take it out on a Saturday night spin to go watch a Motley Crue tribute band. But I think that's the truth. Like you said, that, it's about getting the stereo quality in with a rideable bike, because you know as well as I do, some of these guys build some stuff that, hell, they're going to have to put a car or a truck tire on just to hold the weight. The weight, you got as much weight in speakers and stereo equipment as you do the bike weighs. 600-pound bike, 600-pound stereo system.
I'd agree with you, but I've also got, there's a few of them that are out there. For an example, Lee, he's got that Black Road King that was there this weekend, and he, from Dirty Baggers, he's got that Road King. And then there was Ken Strickland's from Dorian's camp from Blaze Performance. They had the black and blue one. And both of those are heavyweight bikes that have over 15,000 watts on them. You heard them. They're very powerful, very incredible machines, right? In Sturgis, they put 700 miles on those bikes, heavyweight bikes.
Really?
I can tell you right now, I can count, I would say every other day, Lee got caught in the rain on that Black Road King.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So if they're built correctly, you can ride them. You have to distribute the weight. You have to really, there's a lot of planning going to it. They got to be built correctly, fabrication. I mean, they're not slapped together, but there is some big heavy bikes that these do ride. I got to defend these guys. I mean, not everybody rolls with a trailer. I mean, a lot of these guys bring their trailers to these audio shows. Like I go to the East Coast a lot. I mean, in Texas, I heard was a great turnout last weekend. I'm super excited for those guys, and it's great for the industry. I want it to grow west. We've been hoping for it to come this way for years. Is it ever going to get out to us? No, it's not coming this far. But Texas is a lot closer than 30 hours to the East Coast, which I do 3 times a year. I fly out there another 5. So I'm really big involved in it because of how passionate those guys are. And there's 90% of those guys that bring trailers to those shows. It's more bringing their pop-ups, bringing their generators, and their ice chests, because them damn shows last till midnight. I've never been to a show in my life that's interactive with what these guys are doing. Bikes get pulled in and out of the rings, you know what I mean? All this stuff that's going on. It's quite a bit different on the East Coast, but everything's in and out, everything's moving, everything's going. But they have they're lightweight classes. They've got like 60, 70 bikes. I mean, you can ask Will Bond. I mean, they've had shows. I mean, Myrtle went on till 1:00 in the morning.
Holy shit, really?
Yeah. So this industry has grown faster than any. I mean, I've been around since, dude, I think about things all the time, and I can't remember the last time the excitement's been. And I don't think it'll ever be because social media's here. But you remember when we were building bikes when there was no Facebook, or maybe like MySpace is coming out, but people like would show up at a show like, dude, what'd he bring? What did so-and-so build? I can't wait to see what he rolls out. Like, it was like the excitement and the competition was so fierce to building bikes because nobody knew about it. Now, I mean, it's been posted all over the internet 150 times and the show's not even here yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that, I feel like the show bikes that were there, what this is allowed to do is it's allowed the guys that have spent the big money on these show bikes, which, I mean, and I'm not deflating anybody, but I've just watched it and I'm calling the cat black because it is. But the regular shows have kind of whittled their way down because there's no excitement anymore. So we pull up 9, 8, 10 o'clock in the morning, registration, whatever, and we sit there all day and we wait for these judges to do something. Okay, great, whatever, it's fine. I know it takes time. We're looking for quality results. I get all that. But we're there till 5 o'clock at night for trophies, and we just sat there all day. I mean, I can't tell you how many of my guys in Sturgis that go to enter a show and they get halfway through it and they're just like, man, I don't want to sit no more, and they just ride off. Now you've got interactive shows where you have to be present. Like if you make it in the second round, all right, cool, we got to go back. All right, are you ready to go? You got your song list together. I mean, dude, there's excitement. These guys love it.
Speaking of what you just said, I don't know how often you watch a show. I mean, for all I know, you could watch it every single night and be a closet fan. I don't know.
Could happen.
Have you heard about the Grind National Bike Build-Off I'm doing?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Okay. So it will be 1 year from now, $2,500 just to enter your bike into that show. So I've got the rules or the judging criteria right here. It's taken me, oh my God, it literally has taken me a month and a half to come up with these 14 rules. Now I'm not going to go in depth, but there's my rules, 14 rules right there.
Good.
Now, I already know for a fact we've got 12 to 15 builders. Do the math on that. 15 builders is, what is that? $37,500 cash prize. So,
and that's what this needs.
So my industry, my portion, I'm not a stereo guy. I'm so excited for my bike, and I'm so excited that you've got stuff, which I want to talk about that in 2 seconds. But when I really thought about what you just said, people have to sit around and wait for a trophy. Okay, no offense, and I'm not putting anyone down. There's only a couple of trophies out there that are worthy of having, and you know that. Rat's Hole and a couple other. But let's face it, I know guys that have 100 trophies sitting in a room, and they're just paperweights now. They don't really care about them. Once you've won so many trophies, it's no longer about the trophy. Just like the stereo competitions. Now It's no longer about winning a ring or winning a belt or winning. You want to go in there and impress. You want to go in there and talk your shit, play your song,
Or you
beat
want to
them up
win
a little
some money.
bit. Right. So I came up with this biker build off because everybody always, I don't care what show it is, everybody wanted to complain it's rigged. This is a rigged show. There's no way. But how many bike shows did they give you the judging criteria before you ever decided to be in the show?
Never.
None that I know of.
How do you even know the judges? You don't know any of that till you get there.
So you're going to know all of that before you ever agree to pay your money. I've reached out to a couple of people, and the only one that I have right this minute that has confirmed that he will do it is Curly. Right. So he's a judge.
Right.
So I've got my eye on 3 other people, and there are 3 other people that are highly respected in the industry. Right. Okay. The reason I'm doing this is because I want 100% transparency. I want you to know, okay, there's 2 classes. You're either going to do baggers and softails or you're going to do bobbers and choppers. That's it. You decide. If you're the guy that wants to put your bagger into the chopper class, I'm not going to stop you. Put it in there. I think it's stupid. Sure. But so no one's going to do that. They're going to put in the bagger class. Let's just be real. But you're going to know how they're going to judge. You're going to have the judging sheet on the website or on the Facebook page. So as you're building your bike, you can check off everything they're going to judge on.
Sure.
Okay. But what it's going to make people do is it's going to increase everybody's abilities and attention to detail building a bike. Second thing it's going to do is it's going to make every painter, every seat guy really get on top of their game, count stitches, make sure there's no wrinkles, make sure the carpet's cut correct, make sure everything is tight. It's going to make your painter get rid of fish eyes, get rid of flakes, get rid of any imperfection. They're going to have to step their game up so high because everybody knows that's going to be judged. Then you're going to know who the judges actually are. The judges make nothing so far because I got to find sponsors for the show so that I can hopefully get the judges that I want, because they're going to expect, well, I wasn't going to go to that show. Why am I going to spend $2,000 to go to a fucking show to judge your bike show? So I'm going to have to try somehow, some way to either compensate them or at least pay for the hotel room, maybe a little bit of travel expensive. But my point is if you have everything laid out, and it's fully transparent, and you pay your money to get in my show, you just signed your life away, because you just gave away any ability to ever bitch and say, well, that show was rigged. Nope. You knew everything going into that show, and you're going to get to see everybody's bikes. When someone wins that money, I expect every single builder that lost to go up and congratulate that guy and say, yeah, dude, you hit it. You deserve that win. I don't want to hear the complaining, oh, it's rigged.
Yeah, so, I mean, how can it be? I mean, when you set something up like that, I mean, it's almost kind of like the beginning of like what the audio show started out. I mean, they had simple classes. You could do this, you could do that, you could do that. Well, now they've got the classes to where everything's in writing, what you can have, what you can't have, the gray areas where you can get creative. But if it's laid out for you. How good are you? So basically, you're doing the same thing. I'm going to lay the criterias out for you. I'm going to show you this is what we're looking for. How badass are you? And then the best part about it is if you're that confident in your build, I mean, I'm not trying to say that $2,500 ain't shit, because $20 is $20. But, dude, you got a chance to win big money. Like, people, you will get the attendance. I mean, everybody wants cash prizes. I mean, I'll tell you, even winning $300 a class, I mean, people dig it. It's gas money. It's participation. I mean, it's almost like appreciation for how much work and dedication you've put into it. And I'm not trying to be shallow by no means of any of that. I appreciate trophies. I appreciate shows. Has nothing to do with that. But a guy looking at the outside in, man, there's a shit ton of hard hours and labor and money and dedication and time. I mean, you got to dedicate it all, and you're going to see that. And I'm excited to see that. I mean, I might have a few guys that I could help you with. The one thing about that, totally skidded show, is I did get some great contacts from, Chip Fooses to any of those type of high end car designer guys, you know, uh, that could be a part of this, because I don't think, and I'm not going to tell you how to do it, and we could talk about all kinds of stuff all night long, but I don't know if I would have industry judges. I don't think I would. I think I would find really, really skilled guys at what they do. I would have a guy that's got, award winning time after time, or maybe even guys that, from the paint companies that know what it's supposed to be, to, guys that deal with polishing and plating, if that's part of a judge, or, you know what I mean? Guys that are specifically, that is their thing. Because there's an old saying, yeah, you can do it all and you can probably do it good, but you're never going to be the best at everything. And if you find a guy that's dedicated in that area of each one of them, he's going to beat the shit out of you on criteria. And that's what, I mean, at a show like this, that's what it takes. You know what I mean? You're looking for a guy to, critique the shit out of the bike. Like,
so dude, you just totally changed that up, because everybody's agreeing with you.
Yeah.
That is a very good idea right there, to actually get industry professionals at that. So
100%. And then you take any, and here's my thing. You remember something. I've been in the show game, this industry now. I've been, since day one. I've been a part of the first sound shows. I've helped Will and Ben. Those are good buddies of mine. I helped them put that show together. Like, I've watched it all evolve, right? And you nailed it. Nobody wants to hear anybody complaining. This is all passionate driven. Nobody's going to get rich off of it.
No.
Nobody. So if you're doing it because you love it,
it's going to show.
Right. And here's my thing. I tell people all the time, it doesn't matter what you do, right? I mean, if you work at McDonald's, you chose to work at McDonald's. I mean, everybody in America has a will and a way, right? How bad you want it. But whatever you do the best at it, or just don't do it. You don't have to. You honest to God don't have to. If you're a part of a judge, or you're building a bike, or you're whatever shows or companies or whatever, like, if you're not going to give it 110%, it's okay to say, I don't want to do it. And it's like, the number one thing we see in these shows is people complaining about things when you got to really put into perspective. The audio shows that we don't do, like, you got criterias, and that's a different style show, but I'm trying to compare apples to oranges, and they're a little different. But the way your show is going to be set up, like, if you bring in guys like that don't know the industry, don't know Johnny, don't know Bobby, don't know Jimmy, and they're not friends with Tommy, they're there to look at the craftsmanship of that bike. Are his TIG welds, his penetration 50-50, 30-20, where's he at? Is his, polishing, is it show quality polish? Is there any fine, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you bring in a guy that's all he's there to do is to critique that and basically pull apart this and praise that, you're going to get the results that you want. And by eliminating anybody, Curly's a good buddy of mine. I like him. He does great work and everything. But I really think if you can make it happen, obviously that's the other side of it. But if you can make it happen, that's just going to set this show one more step apart.
So I do 100% agree with you. But if I were to use Gary Dubois, then Gary Dubois cannot plate anything in the industry or any of these bike builds, which is going to be bad, because he is one of the best platers out there. So I would have to find another plater like, I forget the guy's name, but he's in California, and he does all the chrome and gold plating for Fender.
Sure.
I could probably get him. But my point is that right there, what you just said, would be awesome. But whoever judged it would have to have some type of credential where people would be like, oh, okay, so this is a badass, painter. I know he knows what he's looking at.
Right.
See,
It can be put together. We've got a year to work on it. I've got some contacts. It's something to think about. You don't have to dig into it right now, but those are the kind of things. It's like, and I'll talk about it because I don't care. But I if I was to get involved in the audio shows, right? Which if I was to do one, and it takes money and you got to invest in yourself in it. I'm not saying that we've got it all figured out. I mean, I could pull it off if I wanted to, but um, the show would be so different and so I would be building the show that the people would just not even have a motorcycle but hear about it. Like, for an example, and I'm trying to go with this with you with your show, because there's been so many normal bike shows and stuff out there. Okay, you got big prize monies, but what's going to separate it, right, when we start talking about those kind of things? But what I would do is my show, I mean, it would be like, do you remember those race wars like on Fast and the Furious, where they're out in the
Yep.
desert, those huge parties that people, like, half those people probably didn't even race cars, but they went out there to see it, right? Like, it was talked about, like, but it takes a lot to get there. If you've got the resources and you've got the time, like for an example with your show, I would figure out to where we could do it at an indoor venue, to where you had a raised up stage with lights and camera and action, and you had an MC that got you through it, and maybe even had some drink service people in there, and you had some vendors. But I mean, it was the full presentation that was basically like the red carpet, right? It would separate you from anybody else that's ever put on a show.
So it's funny you say that. So there's opportunities to do those things.
Sure.
Unfortunately, because it's the first one, and unfortunately because I am not, big swag.
Sure.
I don't have a name behind me. I
Right.
just own the show and I'm doing this. It's going to be real hard for me to get something like that the first year, because I don't have the big name sponsors. I mean, to do stuff like that, they're going to rent that venue out because it's going to have to be there for 2 days.
Yeah.
You're going to end up spending 10 grand just to rent the venue for 2 days.
No, you wouldn't. And let me tell you why. So there was a year that we went. It was the year that I brought my green bike and we went out to Myrtle Beach, and did one of the sound shows out there, whatever. And the rain was. We went all the way out there and started raining. I'm like, son of a bitch! I drove all the way across country, and like, we're hanging out at people's hotels. I mean, pouring rain, right? Well, I go, what are we going to do? And nobody knows what to do or whatever. I go, this show has to go on. I mean, I drove all the way out here because nobody could figure it out. So me and a couple of guys were sitting in the hotel room, and I said, man, I got an idea. So I got on loopnet.com and I started calling realtors. And I said, who's got an empty building? What can I come up with here? I found a guy. That place had to have been 60, 70,000 square feet. It's big, right? It was empty for the night. It costed us, I think it was like $800 or $1,000 for the whole night. We had the whole building. We ended up bringing trucks in there, with beds of ice with beer and drinks in there. We had vendors. I mean, dude, it was the coolest indoor show. The dude actually brought his big scissor lift out and let everybody film it from the top. Like, it was probably one of the coolest shows I've ever been to, and we pulled it off. It was $1,000. So there's what I'm getting after is don't ever cut yourself short thinking that you can't make it happen, because there's a lot of people that are going to support you and have supported you. You got a lot of resources out there that you probably don't know about, that people have that might have that. I mean, I've got a lot of deep resources. I'm sure Louie's got resources. I mean, you're in Texas with a lot of guys that want to see this style show succeed. You watch what'll come a part of it.
Well, I will tell you this right now. I unveiled to a single person before Sturgis. So that was back in July or the very first day of August. I told him what I wanted to do. Now, this guy's a professional builder, been in the game for over 30 years. He was like, fuck yeah, count me in. And I was like, whoa, I didn't even tell you all the rules or anything. He goes, nope, you don't got to tell me. That kind of show is the kind of show I want to be a part of. Now, that's somebody who's been a professional builder for over 30 years.
You watch.
And I was like, wow.
That would not shock me to be $100,000 pop before it's over. Your first year wouldn't shock me, because when you think about it, you're going to you can't count your labor, because you're going to have hundreds and hundreds of labor in there. You're going to build it for you, right? But you're going to put 50, 60, 70, depending on how badass, like you said, how intense you're going to get it and who you got on your team. it ain't gonna be shit to put 60, 70 grand in one of those bikes.
Oh yeah.
What is $2,500 to chance to win all your money back at a show? You watch the turnout that you get, bro. You watch.
Well, the other thing about it is that there's rules to
Sure.
the actual show, along with the judging criteria. There's a couple rules, not many, just a couple. But like I told everybody, I want everybody to take their cell phones,
Yep.
turn them sideways, and make videos of the whole thing, because I'm making a documentary of the show too.
Sure.
So the whole 11 months that it takes that you get to build, you should have 11 months. I should be able to look at your phone and see you build that bike, because when you make the documentary, that guy's got to have enough footage to actually make you look better. Get rid of this, put that in, get rid of it. So by the time it's all said and done, I've already got the guy that's going to make the documentary, hour and a half, 2 hour documentary on all the builders. Unless we end up with 100 freaking builders, and then it's going to be just blurbs of every single builder, and I'm going to do my best to make the documentary as good as possible. But then I also have been told by people that are watching us right now that they have contacts either with people at Discovery Channel or the production crews for the Discovery Channel, that they're trying to get me in contact. Can't make any promises. All I can do is just, hey, I'll tell you who they are, see if they're interested. That's it. But I'd like to see this show get really big and at least make the documentary about it, so that we can sell the documentary after it's over with, so that the next year selling those documentaries would just help me fund it and make it even better for the next year.
Sure.
Part of it is a 45 to 50 mile ride in with everybody. Everybody's got to ride their bikes into that show. So there's going to be, little things, hey, we wrote them in. There might be a chip on the this or that, because you're actually riding the motorcycle in. Like I said, dude, I'm not doing this to be.
Man, I gotta say something though that would just gut wrench you, right? A show that you're talking about, I get the riding, maybe 10 miles, whatever. Even that, something could happen. Could you imagine if you had a pile up or something of these big, incredible show bikes right before?
Oh yeah.
Fuck, dude. I don't know. Maybe you should do the ride after. Just because these guys got thousands of dollars in paint jobs in it. You're wanting these guys to build with that kind of money putting up. You might want to think about that, because I might second guess that, just because if I was going to get in this thing, and who knows, I may the timing. Once again, we are just cranking over here. But if I could time frame, I'd love to be a part of it. But I might have to say I'll ride afterwards, because the paint. I'd be putting $25,000 worth of paint on it.
And that makes good sense right there that you said that, and that's what this whole thing is. It's a learning curve for me. So I listen to everybody. You've come up with 2 kick-ass things tonight. So instead of doing a full ride in, what I might do is a block ride, so we can at least get you riding it on film, because that's what it's about.
Riding it. It's got to run. It's got to ride 100%. Now listen, I agree with you 100%.
So
we do that in the audio.
Ride it around the block, just so we can film you and we know the fucker runs, because that's going to be part of the documentary. You know what I'm saying? So that's a good idea. I agree with you 100% on that. I agree with you about the industry professionals, but I'm also going to have to really do some research on that, because hell, just getting, Gary Dubois involved in judging the chrome plating, you just took one of the best chrome platers directly out of the competition. And that,
maybe I wouldn't go that deep. Maybe I'd go, like you said, people that are known for what they've done. I don't know. I'm just going to throw some names. Like, everybody, you like him, hate him or not, everybody respects Jesse James. Everybody, you like him and hate him or not. What's his the Ken did it. He's still got his reality show. But his team, they built some cool shit. For TV. I know what reality show is, and I know how things are put together now, and so I know that it's not all done in that timely manner. But his ending results, his stuff looks good. But somebody that knows the difference between a little bit or a lot. You know what I mean? It's almost like in our world, in the audio world, which it's hard for us finding judges. I don't go into every one of these shows thinking, that I'm going to judge. And to be honest with you, I really don't want to. I like to be a part of it and mingle with the people. And that's it's all business to me, and building relationships. I met some incredible people at these shows. I've grown a lot with them. But finding judges is hard because they got to be able to explain the difference. For an example, why did my bike not sound good? Oh, well, it just didn't. Your highs were crackling. No. But tell me why. Well, for an example, maybe your 15 to 18K was boosted at 2 dB, too loud, and it was peaking at, you know what I mean? But give somebody a real understanding so they can go fix it. Hey, man, listen, your bike was incredible. There was a few things I found with it. Well, what were those few things? Oh, well, paint wasn't. Well, what was wrong with my paint? Well, you know what? It was beautiful in the beginning. The design and everything about it. I found a few flaws in the execution to where your lines met up that you could have tightened that up a little bit better. Or to where then the guy could go, well, fuck, man, I didn't see that. For the next show, I'm going to make sure my painter fixes it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the kind of judges that you need in there. The industry judges, I wouldn't have somebody in the industry because you just nailed it, right? What if somebody uses something of Curly's?
Yeah.
Well, if he's judging it and they used his fairing, I'm not saying that he wouldn't be. Curly's. He's fair shit. That dude, he'll call it what it is. But I'm just using it once again. You don't want to give any room for any errors for anybody. So, oh well, it wasn't fair. What do you mean it wasn't fair? Nobody knows these judges. We just know that they're legendary professionals that do this daily, that have more award-winning. However you want to say it, award-winning stuff. They've been around it. You know what I mean?
Well, see, that's why one of the judges I wanted to get was Aaron Green.
Right.
Because a lot of the builders today don't even know who Aaron Green is.
Perfect.
But if you know who Aaron Green is, that guy is metal.
Badass.
That guy is machining. That guy is performance. That guy is function. That guy is over the flipping top with just invention and creativity. A lot of these bikes, somebody said it to me the other day. I'm not going to say their name, but they brought up a good point. What do you do if all the baggers are just using two different kits? I was like, well, that's where it's going to come into play. Who did what with what kit? How were their alignment? We know there's a lot more to a custom bagger than throwing a kit on it. Curly is a great example of it. You're a great example of it. There's more to it than throwing a set of bags and a fender on it,
Well, and here's my thing. Here's how I'd answer that. And this isn't me being biased at all because, there's a lot of great products out there. If you show up at that show with a bolt-on kit that's not been modified, you're not going to win anyways.
Yeah.
You're not going to win.
True.
If you don't have something that's one-off, that we can see hundreds of man hours on drafts and scoops and vents and curves and lines and intricate and molded and recessed, and I could keep going. I could pull about 15 bag designs in about 5 minutes right now. I could sketch them for you. So if you're going to put yourself in that situation to where, and listen, I'm not saying that there's guys that can't do great stuff with off-the-shelf product. I'm not taking away from any of that. There's some incredible bikes out there, but you're talking about a show that is for the guys that are really going to get creative. And you may get guys in there that just want to put the money up and be a part of the show too. And that's cool too. We see it in our industry. We do.
What would you think if I could get Brian Jenkins to be a judge?
You better get him to stop building boats in Lake Havasu or wherever the hell he's at. I don't know. Nobody's seen him since the show.
I know. I was so lucky. Legitimately, I was lucky. Right when the show aired, I got to see him. I saw that green bike that he did, and I instantly went and bought a hat and a T-shirt, and I've never even worn it. Never even worn it.
That bike's never ran.
Huh?
That bike's never ran.
Well, I'm not saying it has, but you know as well as I do, for what he did to that bike, that was insane what he did.
And those are the people like that are going to show up at your show. You're going to get guys like that are going to have to come with creativity. You're going to have to. So, I think people will start with certain kits, which is cool, do some mold and stuff, but it's going to be, I'm going to tell you right now, that ain't going to be a fun show to judge. That's not going to be fun because you're going to have some incredible pieces at that show.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have finishing work. You're going to have molding work. You're going to have nothing but, I mean, you're going to have, these guys are going to come. I mean, you see it now. I mean, a guy that's going to build for that, like I said, he's going to come with something you can't buy. So, I mean, and and like that brings back to the industry here. I mean, we could talk about this thing and how it's going to go, but then giving the options with these guys is what's really going to keep this alive. And I feel like that's what the audio's done, is we've allowed the guys that have had these old show bikes that they're not doing anything with anymore. What else can I do with it? I got $100,000 in it. Can't get 40 for it. It's
Yeah.
just, yeah. And listen, I'm not saying it's not worth it. I'm not taking away from anybody, because hard work, you can't put a price tag on it. But I'm just being real. Every time Harley drops a new model that changes something, the older bikes just take a dig. It just is what it is. But what can I do with them? Still have fun with it. Yeah, I can throw some more money at it, but what is it going to do? Another paint job? I've already done that. So now I've got another competitive show that these guys are interactive, and it's stereo on this bike that I don't ride it anyways. Oh shit, I already got the bike. I'm going to get involved in that. And that's how this has grown on our side, is you got a lot of these bikes that have already been built that these guys are just turning into sound bikes. I was one of them. I took one of my big show bikes that I wasn't willing to give away and turned it into a sound bike. Come to find out, I got good money for it because of what it did.
Yeah.
So that's why this industry is growing the way it is. I mean, the parts game, I mean, you got to be on top of your game now. I mean, I'll tell you right now, I've been through the ringer. I've had good parts. I've had bad parts. I've learned from it. My number one thing with me is I've just learned. I've taken it on the chin like a man, went back to the drawing board. How do I fix this? I'm only as good as my guys. I've got a whole different crew. I got guys that are passionate, that are with me now, that, I mean, their work is like I told you before in the beginning. They're prideful what they do. They're not there just for a paycheck. And I had that. And I paid for it dearly. Because nobody, when my parts weren't great, or when they had a problem with this, or that whatever that was, they didn't go after my guys. They went after me. I didn't even build the damn parts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot in this industry that you have to really sit here and go, where and how far do I want this to go? And do you have the heart for it?
Yeah.
And I can honestly, God, say that I didn't know that I had this much heart, man. But all I knew is I couldn't go down. Yeah. The only direction I got to go is I got to go up. And so, all I did is, dude, I just went to the grind. That's all I did. I started fixing stuff, coming out with new designs on it, getting new guys in here to help me, restructuring things, getting my personal life squared away. And it's amazing. And my family, and dude, I'm doing better than I ever have. And we're just rocking. I'm getting to be back to where I am. I'm back in the shop, getting to build again. I'm not having to run the front, put fires out all the time. Like, dude, I'm grateful. I'm blessed. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful for the industry. I'm thankful for guys like you that are still passionate about the motorcycle industry and the building. The fact that you're still building. There's a lot of guys that don't build anymore. They're just burnt out, and it's like, I get it. The industry will burn you out. You have to keep that separation.
Well, I know this much. I started this stuff way late in life. I should have started this stuff 20 years ago when I had the first opportunity. I just didn't have I wasn't deep enough in it yet to understand what was going on. But I do feel like this. I feel like, and I tell everybody, look, I work a day job.
Sure.
I build the bikes on the weekends and here and there, and I do the motorcycle seats all the time. I mean, I've got a stack of them. I've got 17 seats I've got to get done. I have a 7-year-old. But the fact that I have such a busy life, my little boy asked me the other day, and it's ironic that he asked me just literally like Tuesday. He goes, "Dad, what makes you happy?" And I had to sit there for a second because my kid makes me happy.
Sure.
He goes, "No, Dad, not me." He goes, not me, because we spend a lot of time together, but that's not what makes you happy. What makes you happy? And when I really thought about it, the one thing that literally makes me happy is when I have 2 pieces of metal and nothing to do with them. That's when I'm the happiest, because at that point, I'm looking at metal and I'm thinking, what can I make with this metal that I haven't already made before in the last 15, 20 years? it's very therapeutic. But for a 7-year-old to ask me what makes me happy and not me, dad, that really got to me, because
Sure.
apparently I'm spending the time with him, I'm making a mark on him, but he wanted to know what made me happy, not dad. He wanted to know what makes Kevin happy. And that's
Right.
that's a true thing. You've got people in this industry, for a fact they're doing it for the right reasons. And just because you do it for the right reasons, that does not mean you're going to have the best bike. You're still going to fall and build a turd. It's just
Sure.
going to fucking happen. But the guys that matter in this industry, that really make their marks, are the guys that just keep going and going and going. I wish a lot more people knew Paul Yoffe's history. I wish
Sure.
more people knew your history. There's Jesse James's history.
Right.
People that actually take the time to go out and study what they're doing, like you with fiberglass. Have you ever gone to a boat builder and just watched how they do what they do?
So
Or
there's a lot of background in me in that. So I came from the big boat world. So when I decided I was going to do this, I mean, I'm a little different, I guess. I mean, I don't never drank, never smoked in my life, never done any of that kind of stuff. But everything's been to my hands, right?
Mhm.
How can I create this? What can I do with this? How does this work? I'm a guy that I got to know how it works, right?
Yeah,
So when I got involved, like, why did we use this? Like, we use a composite that nobody in the industry uses, and I don't know why, except for there's one thing: it's expensive. You got to be willing to invest in yourself. I don't have Ferraris and Lamborghinis, but I own my entire mold shop. I own my own paint booth. I own everything in my shop: TIGs, MIGs, lays, iron workers. I got it. I went after what I can do to better me.
yeah,
Because I have to learn something every day, or I feel like my day's wasted. I
yeah.
feel like a wasted day. It could be something stupid, but I need to learn. And it's like when you say your outlet and what makes you happy and your level of creativity is finding those two pieces of metal. Mine's when I look around and I go, what can I make from nothing into something? How can I create something that doesn't exist into reality? And then on top of it, we reproduce it, because it's easy to make a one off. It's easy. I can make one off. Try duplicating it, or you got to make a left and a right to match. You
Yeah,
got to measure when there's no squares to measure off of. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like,
I do.
that's what gets your brain going.
Yes, I know
And
exactly
so,
what you're talking about.
well,
Um,
you sew. You got a sewing machine.
I do.
Same thing, bud. It's easy to run 2 or 3 threads, but when you got to match them,
Well, that's like when I built my blue bagger in 2013. I'd I'd never worked with Bondo before. I'd only
sure,
worked with seat pans as far as fiberglass goes, but I
right,
had to figure out, how in the hell do you make that left bag and that right bag have the exact same curves? It,
yeah,
I mean, and every inch of real estate has to be identical, from this angle, from the back angle, from the top angle, when you take it off from the inside angle. And I'll tell you what, man, in 10 and a half months building those parts, I learned more about lines and about inches and about millimeters than I'd ever learned doing anything else in my life. And there's literally nothing you can't do if you just know how to read a ruler. I
yeah.
mean, it's just that
And,
simple.
and and here's the best part: if you don't got one of those, if you know how to make a template, you're in the money.
Oh,
If you
yeah.
know how to make a true template, you're in the money. But those two things, the way to learn all three of those things that we just talked about, is
Mhm.
you got to have time in the saddle.
That's
You
right. You've
got to
got to put your
invest in
time in.
yourself. You got to be dedicated, and that's what you're going to see in all of the angles in this bike scene right now. I mean, yeah, they're still going to be, like you said, they're running around here, they're tired, whatever, baggers, they may have been somebody else's, but the best part about it is the guy that owns it now loves it.
Hmm.
We may have seen it at a show, years ago, and yeah, it's wore out, it's this and that. But the dude that owns it now, man, he's just super passionate about it. I mean, we saw one at the sound show. I mean, and I'm not knocking her at all. I mean, it's a real nice lady, her and her husband. I mean, but it was an old Road King, didn't have matching wheels on it. I mean, had a bunch of Shope's parts on it. You know, dated stuff, but the bike was clean. I mean, dude, it had an old three like spoke looking wheel, like an old '90s car wheel, right? Like, it was old school, but
Yeah,
she loved it. She had her old man riding in the ring for it, had just, that average stereo and whatever, but didn't matter to her because she loved it, right?
that's
I
right.
mean, Went in there. He parked it for her, gave a little rev for her, whatever. She turned a little Bluetooth on, played her song, but it didn't matter because at that time, that made her happy.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just the passion for the industry that we see day to day right now is what keeps me going, man. I'm not gonna lie. Seeing how people, we don't build as much bikes as we used to. I don't get to do. I mean, I chose the parts game, and that's where I like to make things. Building bikes is super cool, but the time to dedication into it, I've just worked towards the parts. But that doesn't mean that I don't appreciate every second of it, because doing a true build, a lot of these guys overlook so much that guys like me and you have seen throughout the years, to where, like, dude, you had it. All you needed to do is add a little bit more here. You know what I mean? Like, you're right there. I mean, it's funny, like, and I knock these guys because they all know I'm going to do it because I'm from the West Coast. But Ricky Willett at the SOS, they decided they're doing a Rhythm and Rides bike show, which is pretty cool. But you ride your bike in. So you ride your bike in, if it's one or two bikes or whatever. The judges, 3 judges, they walk around with their score sheets or whatever. It's a fast-paced show, so I mean, it's more to move along, to keep people interactive. But the concept is great. You ride your bike in, lift your air ride all the way up. We're checking your rear wheel. If you don't have matching wheels on here, we got to dock you. But I mean, there's so many bikes out there that these guys don't buy the rear wheels for. You don't buy one shoe. How do you not buy a matching set of wheels?
As everybody says, because you can't see it unless you're rolling.
Well, you know what? How often does your bike stay parked? I hope it never runs then, because if it airs up and I see it, we're going to point it out. Out west, out here, these guys will not put handlebars on their bikes till they got matching wheels.
Yeah.
Like, it's a big deal. But that's just the craftsmanship of this. That's just the dedication of it, And, to me, with this thing is the with the parts, with everything I've learned from this, is that if you don't get better at it, you're going to get left behind. If you don't stay creative, if you don't stay ahead of the curve, if you're not constantly trying to create new parts, like, you can't take an old bag that you've had in production for 4 or 5 years and put a speaker ring in it and say, hey guys, I got this new bag I'm going to release. Like, how does that change anything? Like, if you're not creative and wanting to push the envelope, and listen, it's not for everybody, because you don't always win. It's gambling. It's a legal way of gambling, because you're going to gamble your money at it. It may not be for everybody. We've all win some and we all lose some, but you got to be willing to invest in yourself. And that's what I've learned in this industry. It's like, you know what? You're either all in or you're just going to float, and then your boat's going to float the wrong direction. And then you're going to paddle like a motherfucker trying to come upstream. And half the time you're going to throw the paddle in the water and just coast. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, dude, I hate to do this to you, but we've been on here an hour and a half.
Man, that's, like I said,
I told you, didn't I?
Yeah, you said it, man. But
it
you know what?
blows right by, man, especially when you get on good topics with good people that actually know what they're talking about. Get on here and you just get going, because there's so much in this industry to talk about. Sure. But dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, dude, you're part of the Grind family now. You're welcome to come back anytime you want. If you want to come on here, when you release a part or you just want to shoot the shit, man, you are always welcome to come back here anytime you want.
Man, I'd love to. And I can tell you, I'm grateful that I got invited to be on here. I think it's great what you guys got going on. I think the show's great. The TV thing you got going on, it keeps people looking forward to it. I mean, I look forward to just seeing what you guys are topping on. I may bounce in and out of it, but I check in on you. And dude, I think it's great, man. I'm super pumped that you guys are still pushing.
Well, I appreciate you, man.
All right, guys.
Well, dude, have a great night, and thanks for coming on here with us. I sincerely appreciate you.
Okay, buddy. Take care.
You too, man. Well, there you go. So that was a very, very good night. Now, I will be back next Thursday night. So I am taking in all of this, man, like a sponge. I'm hearing what everybody's saying, all these good ideas about the bike show. I'm going to be posting these up. Like I said, everything will be posted December 1st. I am going to try now to get the judges for judging this show. I'm going to have to really put some thought into that. So we may not have the judges by December 1st, but you will have the rules and you will have the actual criteria that you're going to be judged on right here. These will be up. I have text messaged these to a couple of different builders simply because I want their input, because I respect them as builders, not to give them a heads up. Everybody's going to have these. The actual show will start January 1st and will go all the way until Galveston. Somebody asked me, why am I not doing this show at Sturgis? The reason I'm not doing it at Sturgis is because Sturgis already has the Rat's Hole. I want to show, and I want to give people the majority of time that I can give them for a show like this. So that show, unfortunately, it is in here in Galveston, Texas, and it's 11 months from January 1st. It's always at the end of October, the beginning of November. So that's ample enough time. And let's face it, what does it matter if it's in Sturgis or Laconia or it's in Galveston or Daytona? It's going to be big wherever it's at. Amen. I am so glad you said that, Logan, because I was going to reach out to him tomorrow. Amen. But anyway, guys, man, thanks for sticking with me. We had a good viewer count that stayed steady all night. We've been on here an hour and a half. And I just want to tell you guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being a part of this. Please